Whew. Here we go. InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings. The cosmic energy is one of a galactic juice today. Our crown is open to insight of the divine communicator. Our heart channel is doubling the juice and also our core processor. So having boundaries around what we do to create our manifestation, it really is blast off time, taking ourselves to the limit one more time. So this innovation of the season of Aquarius is highlighting our lives to really elevate to a higher notch, elevating spirit to matter, to make physical in the realm of the earth. It's a Tuesday of talent. It's February 8th, and as always, welcome to today's daily snippet. I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon. Merging the indigenous technologies, the spirit of the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso with the subtle energies, elements, elemental beings. Basically, the elemental realm into the imaginal realm. Offerings, rituals, and prescriptions to add to your personal container, the juice. My intention is to merge these indigenous technologies with the subtle elemental realms, the etheric highway, to assist you into navigating your prime directive, your inner genius, reintroducing you to and through the magical being that resides within you. My name is Tonya D, and as always, welcome to my virtual medicine room. If you have already, or if you haven't already, please be kind and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tonya D. Hit the bell button so you're notified. And also, if you don't mind, like the video. So the YouTube algorithm really echoes out to suggest me to other like-minded users in the galactic universe. And being that we are in the season of Aquarius, the lightning bolt of in spirit, the inner genius is really highlighted. Just valuing our creations, the crown center being activated, our heart, the processor of it, along with our root center to ground and make it manifest. Then to add the sacral, where we add the ingredients to the sauce. So it's like the adjectives to a story, or really the herbs to an amazing sauce. So the feelings that the manifestation really brings to life. And then also the shaman's portal, the library in the sky, being that this is a talented day. I am bringing in the Fae, the spirits of the realms, if you will, for the cards of the day. And first up, we have Aponya's daughter, or wild daughter, if you don't mind. Her name is Dorcha, and she's not just any daughter. Again, she's the wild daughter. She's part of the Fae Challengers, and they want to bring us face to face with our fears, denials, inner traumas, insecurities, delusions, and also those confusions. So these are the ones who, metaphorically speaking, they stick out a foot or a stone in front of our path to really see if we're paying attention to where we are going. So they're just testing our alertness, our awareness, insight, knowledge, ancient wisdom, and even our dedication to our own personal growth. Their tests and challenges, if you will, are not like the tests in the modern day everyday school, just discovering what we've already learned. They design these tests so that in the process of us passing them, we actually learn things that move us to a higher level of being in our beingness. They really don't offer us these tests or challenges unless they feel we have the potential of actually passing them. But Aponya's wild daughter is known for her inner shadow work, the nightmares, the depressions, the madness, and the growth. And her name really is Dorcha. It's in the bleakest part of the night, that's when she comes. She's wearing her crown of fairy stars, if you can see that. She's kneeling on an ancient owl, also, if you can see that. She really is the bearer of hidden wisdom of the night, facing into the past with a clear, unflinching gaze as she's holding us. So we are held immobile, inwardly focused by her comforting, impeccable, if you will, light-filled hands. So she has riddles that often seem impossible for us to answer at first, and yet she will not let us go until we find the solutions within ourselves. She is one of the great teachers of the realm of the Fae, but her method of teaching makes Socrates, questions look like child's play. So this is something we should really expect from Dorcha, because her lessons are about the shadow side of ourselves, the things we fear, our insecurities, self-doubts, and our denials. She's the practitioner of tough love therapy, if you will. So Dorcha is the wild daughter of Aponia, the lady of the horse and of the moon. So she takes us back through the dark, the hidden side of ourselves, into healing and also fulfillment. So from this temporary madness of rage that we might experience, could be premenstrual tension or greatest stress, to the deeper and the longer psychosis. So she drives us on this journey through our internal hells, if you will. And when we complete that journey, we are transfigured, transformed. We're transcending our old selves, and we can never be frightened by that darkness ever again, whether our own or that of another, actually. But until the journey is fully complete, manifested, we exist in a state of vulnerability. So, which is where most of us, oftentimes, that's where we are most of the time, right? So you might not notice that it's she or not her more gentle sister, Lestate, who wears the crown of the stars, a mark of service, great wisdom, compassion. Her element is the moonlight, Dorcha's element, that is. It's the fifth element that tempers and tests our spirit. It's through her teachings that our greatest inner conflicts, our struggles, if you will, they are resolved. They are our greatest strengths. So the magic on the other side of fear, the struggle, right? So she is the Sphinx whose riddles must be answered, actually, in order to avoid the destruction of our own inner conflict. So Dorcha is reminding us that we cannot go forward until we face something buried deep within us that is really holding us back. So her presence today is telling us that finding and working through this is really a task of some urgency. We can expect help in this form from other people, the Fae themselves, our dreams, the magical dreams, but we need to open up. We must be open to these difficult questions and also to those answers, along with being ready to face things about ourselves that are not as we would wish them to be. So she really is urging us to heal those unresolved issues about who we really are and what we truly want to be. So this is part of the course in Self-Transformation 101 that we all enrolled in here on planet Earth. So the answers to our riddles come in sudden bursts of insight, enlightenment, if you will, like the solution to like a Zen riddle. So we may watch a leaf fall or catch a tiny sliver of the new moon or the full moon in the sky and suddenly really be hit by this answer. But before this happens, we usually work long, we work really hard upon the question, searching and digging for the answer. So this realization is when we really have it, we will be transformative or transformed. We will no longer be the people or the person that we were once before. Possibly you don't like this interpretation. Well, you know, I might have been telling you all along that we, you and I, and everybody else will all receive varying messages from the realm of the Fae, the elemental spirits. You yourself could ask Dorcha if she has a message for you, but don't be surprised if her answer is not just another question, possibly a riddle. She's always wishing us well and solving these riddles to the core of her essence and her heart. Oh boy, right? So that's kind of the message for her. And then we have the singer of intuition, which I have brought to the stage before. The singer is the underlying songs of the universe, not just to us, but also to the Fae. They really are the great ones, the Otherworldlies, the Watchers, the ones who show us all in our human forms, human or otherwise, even in the non-human form, the Faes, etc. What we have the potential to ultimately become, and they're assisting us to move in that direction. They're comforting us when we fall off of our path or linger somewhere different, and they are just constantly with us. Their energy and compassion is literally always available. So when in need, seriously in need, all we have to do is really ask them for assistance, for guidance, and then just be aware of the different events or the insights that follow in that request. And oftentimes, we need to acknowledge the presence of the singers in our daily lives, our day-to-day lives, and just ask for help that they can actually assist and give us, and be open to the guidance, be receptive to this power. the energy that they are truly offering us. And more importantly, express gratitude for their aid. Gratitude, right? So when we open ourselves to prayer, meditation, or love to these singers, we are allowing their essence to literally flow in and through us like light. They are these ministering angels. They're like the Greek gods and the goddesses. They have a variety of faces of unity. And the first is really to send the song of ecstasis to the world of the Fae and also to the earth. They are the givers of grace, that which is given to us, whether we actually deserve it or not, whether we earn it or not, that which is given unconditionally and unstintingly, which is always available to us when we choose to be open and receptive to it. So there's a very powerful process that's being worked through, and we have the powerful assistance with these singers. This is perceptiveness, it's auricular powers, awareness, it's also trust. But the song of the singer of intuition carries all the information there is. It literally is the galactic grid. Some people actually believe that this information is often called the Akashic records. It's the filing cabinet or the library in the sky. It's the book of life, the book of shadows, or the shadow records, if you will, that we all have to go to in order to get information, either psychically or intuitively. However, we don't need to go anywhere. The song is literally sung within our bones and our blood and our flesh. It's in our matter. So just as it is within the rest of the galactic universe, the cosmic highway. So if we are in our present stage of evolution consciously, if we were to hear this song in all of its fullness, its essence, we energetically would be overwhelmed. Our minds would be burned out by this energy in those frequencies. So it's like our universe, being kind, has led us to a place in our own inner development where we can consciously hear only little bits of the melody, little quarks. Usually we need to upscale, developing a skill and actively listening for it. But occasionally a few of those notes actually resonate so closely with our own soul's harmonic, our own being, that we become aware of them. So these involuntary experiences are what we often call hunches or gut instincts, intuition, or a extended sense perception. And we can really improve this reception of the song by learning to actually be still, to listen in a very special way, unique. There are ways that we can really amplify this song, and there's also techniques. But what we get for practicing stillness through meditation and listening, soul listening, just ask and listening, then listen, that's the ability to really understand and interpret all these meta symbols, really the soul's harmonic, the symbolism beyond the material symbols of oracles and omens themselves, stars, omens, portents, and just movement of the galactic universe, the stars, the cosmic highway. Even the little elemental beings of insects and mice and all that kind of stuff. So we are all part of this one piece, this one song, and they are all part of us. So as we are a part of them. So understanding them truly is just a matter of learning to be still, to ask, and more importantly, to listen. So we are in this evolution right now, I sense. And as we evolve and as we grow, we will be able to hear more and more of this particular song to really base our actions, choices on a greater knowledge and ancient wisdom, if you will. So it's like patience and practice are all really the keys to all of these subtle energies, the clear senses, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairsentience is clear knowing, and one of my very favorite really is telepathy. Telepathy is hearing each other without actually utilizing words. It's like a sacred sound, or premonition, knowing before a glimpse of the probable futures, the unlimited possibilities. And being that the singer of intuition is otherworldly, it's the song of the singer. It seems to be obscure. So we really need to ask ourselves, within ourselves, how can we learn to be more quiet within ourselves on the inside, or peaceful? How can we be more peaceful? How can we better listen to the song of knowledge and this ancient wisdom? So just knowing that not all meanings are meant to be clear at once, right? Some ideas literally take time and they take a lot of space. And some words are designed to kind of lead us on our inner journey within truth, the truth really hidden deep inside of them. That's kind of the message of the singer. But following the singer of intuition, we have what's called, and I pulled these little guys before. Let's see, where are we? The Topsy-Turvettes. What a name there. They're part of the Helpline Troop. These are the wee folk, the little people of the Fae, if you will. They're both large and they're both small, who sometimes assist us in our day-to-day lives. Sometimes they do add a little splash of more confusion, if you will, usually in an effort to be helpful, to assist us. But they're associated with the elementals, the earth, the fire, the air, the moonlight, etc., the star. Sometimes they work alone, and sometimes they work in groups, in pairs even. They're really full of fun. They're full of life. They're full of joy, laughter, sassy, sometimes mischievous even. But these are the ones we often think of when we think of like brownies or pixies. But they prefer to be literally in nature, practicing natural magic out in the natural world, if you will. But they're actually willing to meet us anywhere and any when. We've had messages from these Topsy-Turvettes before, but this is a change of a viewpoint. Having a fresh look, new ways of seeing things, new way of being things. So it's like when life is confusing, these Turvettes really come to visit us. And nothing draws them in than a little bit of mental muddle of the mind, the muddle, if you will. What does that even look like, right? But they don't really cause our disarray. We usually are just very good at that and doing that for ourselves along with each other, but they really are attracted to it. They vibrate to it. So confusion in itself is an important stage of growth, literally, and they are delighted in helping things grow, ourselves included, and they live everywhere because not only humans need their assistance, but they are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are even quite prolific in ways. So there are a lot of them. So being that this card has shown up for a message today, indicating that someone needs to kind of look again to make an effort to see things from a different viewpoint, otherworldly viewpoint, it's kind of a suggestion that confusion may exist because we are seeking the wrong questions. Or maybe we have made assumptions that are actually incorrect. So we have literally run into a brick wall built of all of those misconceptions. So they're asking us to literally back up, to question our assumptions, to try to see things from the viewpoints of other people, the other people involved, in our mental muddle of the mind. So just asking us to let go of our attachments to our own point of view, to stop saying things like ought or shoulding ourselves to death, especially about other people as well. So they are most empathetically, they're suggesting that we start to see things as they truly are, as they really are, instead of as someone thinks they should actually be. So it could be a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand, the experience, is mentally upside down as well, or possibly sideways. But again, being that this card is otherworldly, but it's always otherworldly. That's the message. Even when it's turned sideways, it's otherworldly. So who is it that's trying to muddle our mind? You know, I saw the Earth's rug, if you will, be shaken in a vision. So there's lots of interesting voices coming out. And to add to the spice, you know, this is for all of you that are liking. And I'm not going to do any personal messages today until I see the shares, if you will. But just to add to the Topsy-Turvettes, if I can get there. Uh-oh, what am I doing? Let's see. This is great. There. Oh, no. I did that. Let's see. Let's get rid of that one. Oh, there we go. There we are. Just remember, sharing is caring and the vibe of the tribe. But this is himself. He is part of the she, the people of the hills, the lords and the ladies of the Fae, if you will. The old ones, the ancient ones, they have like this wisdom and they dance. It's the dance Actually, all the fays dance, but this dance, the she do it to mediate the energies of the singers, the powerful energies, to bring that energy into manifestation throughout the worlds. And they do this for the pure essence, for the pure joy. It's their alchemical art, if you will. They alchemize. So the dance of life itself, that's just what they do. They love to dance, the fairy dance, if you will. They're the ones that create and nurture and build the worlds, the inhabitants of all of the worlds. They're available to each and every one of us. There's no one in particular. Individually as guardians, teachers, and also as comforters and gatekeepers. But they enjoy creating frequent miracles, the bliss. And being that we have a singer card in today's messages, they really want to bring the message into manifestation from the singers. So the she have sometimes been called gods or goddesses as well, but it isn't how they see themselves or even think of themselves. They literally are the elder race, the forerunners, the ancient ones. Once in the early mists of time, if you will, they were as undeveloped as we are now. Part of their contact with us and us with them is to teach us to be more like them, the ancient wisdom, giving us role models for a far-fetched future, if you will. So in the realm of the Fae, the concept of lords and ladies is really quite different from that of what is in our physical world. It's not really a matter of authority. So imagine telling an individual Fae what to do. It would literally be like herding cats or butterflies or even wasps, for that matter, the bumblebees. It's not even a matter of having privileges that other Fays don't have. They don't see themselves like that. These are just the most respected of the lords and the ladies within the realm of the fairy for literally for what they do. So they really set examples through their work, the way they live. They really don't give orders, just knowing how important it is to respect the free will of everything, of others. Instead, they just make suggestions, and more rarely, they often make requests, but there really is no force. So one is really never punished for disobedience to ungiven instructions, and oftentimes we might punish ourselves for not literally cooperating with them by missing out on what the wonders that we'd have gained if we'd actually been more cooperative with them. So each of the she has their own, his or her own potent magic power that acts through all of life. They're profoundly wise. Their actions are for the highest good of all, everyone involved. However, we as well literally have this power in our own embryo. So these abilities are something we gradually earn by utilizing them wisely. So these magics, they sing very powerfully into our lives. So with these energies, it's important actually to remember that the flip side of this powerful creativity is kind of a formidable destruction, if you will. So the energy channeled in by the singers can only be used by humans for good, creatively good, co-creation. Otherwise, these energies, they can be blocked, but they're never misused. So on the other hand, the powers used for good by the she can be employed by humans either for the good or for ill. But this misuse by people, humans, of the she's energies always rebounds upon the doer one way or another, right? So this is just another way of kind of defining karma. I think we're in for some spiritual karma here. So when we as humans exercise these powers, we can actually use them appropriately, compassionately, or we can misuse them. Two sides of the coin. But the patterns of the misuse usually fall into three different categories: blocking, twisting, or negating. But himself, the name of this card, he's got a sparkling crown. You could see his crown is literally on line, his third eye, and also his heart. The sparkling crown. He is the natural law. He is the life force. He is magic, literally. And he's also shamanic. He's got this shamanic power. Nobody else or no one else, just himself. So he, as a she, is the guardian above the hunter and the hunted. He finds no conflict in that because he understands the many necessary balances of nature. The living bond between all of life. So himself is the breath that moves. It's the atom that dances. And his magic is in pure being. and living and loving. Where the journeyman and the master maker, they have the magic of doing something, of the creation of things. The bright mother has the magic of manifesting and nurturing. I've talked about all these. But himself, he has the magic of procreation, of dancing the spark of life into being. His presence brings magic and life into the world where it's shaped and given form by the Earth Mother. So he dances as the bright mother literally gives birth, just powering us into the world. He is like the great father, if you will. And at the end of our lives, he is the one who dances the greatest dance of all, the dance of life and also the dance of death. It's himself when we hear the piper play, the lonely call on the wave that's sweeping the shorelines of the year's end, if you will. He dances and opens the gate between the worlds so that I call it the transcendence day. So when we transcend or death may pass beyond. It's also he himself who is willing to sacrifice himself when that is actually necessary for the sake of those whom he's protecting. And between those two kind of extremes, if you will, his wild yang energy is channeled through humans to benefit both the tribe and also the family. His family, he's the family to all of us, human and animal, the elementals. But the shamans draw upon his power, and the best healers channel this balance between his power and the bright mother's nurturing energy. So even as our heart beats within us, we learn to kind of mediate the life force through joyful being and also the action, just expressing this power through healing, love, and trust. So then we become more like himself. So being that himself has appeared today, he is not only indicating that a great amount of this energy is actually vitally present right now, he also strongly is energizing the cards that I pulled today, the cards around him. So everything he touches becomes more of whatever it is, becomes more alive, more vigorous, more powerful, more awesome, or also more awful. So it's a message that can indicate great vitality, victory, victors, or triumph, confidence, power. So there is leadership and ability to kind of command. There's this steadfastness and more importantly, integrity, but it's the wild power held and channeled in for the good of all by will. Himself speaks of protection, either of the querent or somebody who the querent owes protection to, could be like a child or an elder, and just acceptance of paternal responsibility is important, which is fantastic today because my elder, my father, does live with me. So these are those deep and committed relationships, but he is the preserver of the natural world and all the balancing of that. And the shamanic power that might be indicated here, as well as the potential for powerful spiritual healing. So this message may also speak of erotic energy, passion, potent creativity. That was a bit interesting too, because I just watched a YouTube video that was shared with me yesterday. So it's like, what muddles the mind? The querent, the one seeking, the one who questions an oracle. Because it's usually when one has a problem, a challenge, an adversity that requires this otherworldly advice. That's why one gets a divination, if you will. So the rug in my vision is really coming up. The roots are being shaken as well. We're seeing this. And you know, when you grab some grass and shake that dirt off in the elemental realm, right? We can see what's there, the roots of the condition, the situation, if you will. And again, the elemental realm, which we have a yang water, dragon of a day, and we have a lot of yang water on the stems, all that Ren there. So it's all yang energy as well, except for some hidden yin in the dragon branches there. But being that this yang water is born in the tiger month, which again is the representation of the beginning of spring, when the element of wood is on the rise, it's getting stronger. And being that wood is strong during the tiger month and the tiger year, I might add, making metal element weak, which means the yang water is also weak as well, even though there's a lot of it, because it lacks the support. That's the yang metal. And yang metal is really the most needed element for today to control all that strong wood and actually be more producing of the water. And yang fire is needed to warm up this chilling yang water as well. So yang earth can be useful if the water element is excessive, which it is, to keep it under control. So there really is no need for additional fire, which is in combination with wood can further weaken, if that makes sense, the yang water. So it's all about balance. And yin earth isn't needed because it's going to contaminate the yang water. And yin fire, like a candle, shouldn't actually be too excessive as well. Otherwise, it will weaken the yang metal, which is very much needed for this day. So the strong water, all that yang water is very strong. It's elevated and it's producing a lot of wood, but it also can rot the wood because there's so much water. But these two elements are acting together kind of like a gang. They're controlling the entire chart, which might be rather cold, I might add. And the wood is too wet. Therefore, it's unable to literally produce the fire. So while the element earth might be also weak, fire and earth are really needed as well to bring balance to our day. So I would use a yin candle, a soothing fire, a warming fire, not an out of control yang burst of fire. And since we are in a fire year in the Dagar cosmology, it's just heating things up. So the summer is possibly going to be a little curious when the element of fire is literally at its peak. But metal in today's energies is unable to control or use the element of wood. Metal might be damaged, rusted, while wood remains uncontrolled. So it's not very useful. And wood is really exhausting the energy of metal. So the metal element or mineral needs to be stimulated to bring balance to our day. And what earth is useful as an element because it can produce the mineral or the metal, and it's going to exhaust the wood. So there you have it. The dragon there, a water dragon at that, and I like that actually, water dragons, I used to have one. But the element earth addresses issues of power, ego, and money. The body organs are the stomach, if you will, and the spleen, but we're talking about the dragon. And the dragon seeks to really be content, fulfilled in the quest that they might find or meet their expectations. Or they might fear the possibility of rejection. So it's like obsessions and compulsions. That might be the result. So sandalwood actually is one of the more expensive oils. I don't know if you've ever used sandalwood, but it's made from a wood element, right? That can be at least 30 years old before the essential oil can be extracted. So the oil becomes mature, like the wisdom of an old tree, by the time it's used. Young wood is wisdom. That's why I said that. And not a young oil. It's not a young oil. So it imparts a sense of paternal protection. It's this very golden oil. It's very warming. It has been used since ancient times as a barter, as kind of like gold. But it's also a grounding oil to ground. Sometimes it's hard to find, and it oftentimes varies in price. And vetiver is an oil that really has an earthy smell to it also. And it can also be very grounding, uplifting, and comforting. It can relax the fears of insecurity that the dragon has. So these are all energies or elementals, essential oils, and that can be used to kind of bring balance to the energy of this little lone dragon there. He kind of is like a lone duck. But myrrh is also an essential oil that can be used. It's been around since ancient times. You know, the wise men that brought the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh to the stable when Jesus was born. But myrrh is also used to counteract addiction, the addiction of sweets. And the dragons, and actually snake people, they usually have this. But it's also been used in the past, whether you knew it or not, for gum disease. And the gums are really the province, if you will, of the stomach pathway, the stomach meridian, by the way. So that's kind of fascinating. And also bergamot helps to deal with compulsive behaviors like eating disorders. So the earth relates to issues of money and finance, in essence, survival. So being out of balance with our earth energy can lead to love and also sugar addictions. So there's also these frequent disappointments and disapprovals that often stimulate an identity crisis or ego issues. So utilizing essential oils when you think about someone or when you think somebody's going to reject you can literally keep us from jumping the gun, if you will, and rejecting the person first. So just make sure that the other person isn't just having a bad day. That's often usually what's happening before we walk away. So being a dragon energy, the essence of the energy of the dragon, chicory, that's kind of, it's a sound, it can actually function with the monkey or the bladder pathway, both monkey energies, but it helps with our behaviors involving control and also manipulation. But here we're using it more for those who crave the attention or they have domineering parents. So dragons, the energy of a dragon, they usually have identity issues. So it's like, which way should I go? Or which way is going to lead me to my identity? Another, to something altogether, a different pathway. So what do I want to be? Or where do I want to go? Those are kind of conversations the dragon has. Again, we can look into a vine. We can attribute it as well to the monkey as well as the dragon. They both have similar issues. But this is for somebody who yearns for power, almost in a greedily kind of way, greedy. You can utilize vine, and I'm talking about Bach flower essences now. But vine you can use as an essence to move from control to being wise and loving and a leader. Also, walnut is great for people experiencing life's major changes. And dragons are literally more prone to an identity crisis, more prone than others. It's like, literally, who am I? That's a constant question they ask themselves. So there's lots of insight there. So if there's any dragons, it could be on the day, the month, the year, or the hour. And being that nature is really strong today due to weak fire, it's unable to spend the excessive energy that we have. It's not really productive enough. So fire element is truly needed to make wood busy, to bring balance to the chart as well, assisting our dragon. I'm not sure if I shared that insight earlier, but the cosmic soup bowl today is really coming together. So we are reaching spirit in the day-to-day, connecting with the realms of spirit daily. So just being on the mountaintop, creating a spiritual kind of spatial point of view in our high heart. So if you feel as if the watershed is falling down, washing away your efforts, this is the feeling that often comes when energy becomes matter, creating form, sustenance. So we have this otherworldly perspective, just aiming for our heart's desires, our heart's wishes. And, what are those desires going to go? Where are they going? So when we flow through our heart channel, the desires of the heart, we channel in this energy into our root center. And as we continue to flow, those intentions, those heart-driven intentions, become manifested into reality. So keep adding the ingredient of love to the chalice. That really is the key ingredient. But you could also look at this as of having a bird's eye view, if you will, where we can actually see all the innovations, the insight, the spiritual awareness that really has arrived in our life through space and time. So when we have an optimistic venue of sometimes what feels like a broken record, we're hearing the same story, it kind of becomes a ritual, a habit of our natural state of being. So we're kind of in this flux of elevating our Uriel, if you will, the light that clicks on that aha moment of innovation, our inner genius within us, just sharing our light to the outer world. It's through the shaman's portal where our boundaries are being affirmed and confirmed. Himself, the card of the day, actually kind of affirms that too. So wherever you are, literally be there. Whatever feels nurturing and comforting and loving, like a home does, the inner heart's core. We can never feel too safe or too comfortable, right? Or can we, really? So it's a time to take a step forwards and no longer looking backwards, leaving those old habits behind us. We are into something new. It's pioneering, protecting our prime directive from those outer influencers, the Nellies that are negative. We are taking our sacred space to a new growth channel. We are elevating. Even ancient wisdom might come online today, and trust and belief in your guardian and your gatekeeper, the otherworldly in spirit. Just really protecting our heart's prime directive, our intentions, all of them really, whatever that looks like for you individually and cosmically. Ultimately, we're knowing where we belong in this realm or another. So feelings usually have no logical interpretation. You really might be hypersensitive today or even become hyper aware. So anytime we start to channel in a growth period, we get triggers. Those triggers literally come up to the surface. It's the mental muddle of the mind. So we are in the waves, the transformation of these muddled waters becoming clear. So feelings need to be made really to feel good at the current moment. I literally have environmental stressors. They are tearing apart the environment in my backyard. The noise was so insane this morning. However, I just told myself I'm going to stay in the light, be a beacon of light, and know that you too are in the light. And also, the harm that others do to us or to you will eventually rebound and be returned. So I'm just kind of staying in that frequency. And that includes the illusion of authority, I should say. But with all of that, our sacral is online. So bring in the energy of oranges. Eat an orange if you will. Salmons are great if you like fish, even the color of salmons. Options really are endless today, endless possibilities. So we have this energy to be self-innovative. We have the core of our self-worth, our authentic self-worth. Are you worth it? I bet your heart says yes. I know I'm worth it. So it's like we are really getting a virtual galactic makeover. So it's like happy processing. And the seed sounds, there's a variety of seed sounds. We could bring in the energy of the crown, the Om, the heart center, the Yam, the root, the Lam, and really end with the Vam, our emotional empathy channel. So I would just take a minute with each one, each sound, each seed sound, play around too. And just, you could utilize colors as well, violets, whites, greens, reds, orange, literally a rainbow bridge glowing in the light. Honestly, it's just about seeing through the eyes of the creator, knowing that we are all unique and we all have these virtual gifts. We all have offerings to offer self or another, and just be in the channel, a state of gratitude. And we really have this unlimited potential of amazingness. And we have this galactic opportunity to manifest into the physical. Emotions really are going to just add to the manifestation, making it feel even juicier. So I would literally affirm that I am in my own cosmic container with the round table, if you will, the queendom, feelings of love, peace, joy, manifesting our authentic heart's desires. It really is the juice to stay in the light. It's going to get cosmically, it's going to feel disruptive, but we're all doing great. And as always, I will see you on the other side. Blessings to you, and thanks for tuning in. InShalla, Ashe. I just love saying that out loud.